Hey Flosstube, I am Danielle and this is my channel, Leppin' Stitchin'. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if that's something that you are interested in, I hope you will stick around and hang out and look at some stitching. Today is August 7th, 2024, and this is Flosstube number 44. I'm a little out of practice. It has been since the beginning of June since I've been on here. Summer kind of got away from us. Really busy working from home, my husband and I, and then 3 kids home for the summer, so it's just been a lot. I have though been doing a lot of stitching in the evenings. I've not had a lot of evening meetings, so those have been paused for the summer. That's been great. Everything kicks back up next week with the school year, so it'll be a little bit busier coming up, so maybe a little bit less stitching, but I'm really glad with everything that I've been able to get done over the last few months. So this is a very stitching heavy video, so I hope you are ready for that. I've got a few fully finished objects that I was able to get done earlier, and then a bunch of finishes, especially with Jolly July. I did some ornaments, as well as ended up working on a focus piece and getting it completed. That was a larger whip that I had, and now I've got my fall stitching that I am starting on, so as far as whips go for that. So I'm excited to kind of dive in. And then I do have a bunch of save the stitches. So my mom and I went to some estate sales that I actually knew were gonna have some stitching things, and I found more than I thought I was gonna find. So I'm gonna share those, as well as they are some older pieces, and I don't know anything about them, but I just know that I found them, and I'm going to try to help save them and put them up somewhere, and then eventually when I have time. And then I do have a little bit of haul. I've been pretty good with the haul, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But it's hard because Needlework Market is coming up now at the end of the month. And there's already a bunch of things that are on my wish list, as I'm sure for many of you as well. Also, my bangs are very long. I've not had time to get them cut yet, so I'll probably be messing with those. So welcome, I'm so excited that you are here, and thank you for joining me. Again, if you are returning, and then if you are new, thank you so much for stopping by. So let's just kind of jump into my fully finished objects. So for the first one that I did, this is Plumstreet Samplers, American Welcome. There's the cover photo, and I stitched this with my friends Lisa, Red Poppy Crafts on Instagram, and Cow Stitcher. She is on Instagram, as well as Flosstube. And so we started this in for Americana April. I didn't finish it up until May though, so it took me a good 6 or 7 weeks to finish stitching it. It is stitched with all of the called for colors, as well as on the called for fabric, which is Amana, I think, I want to say, by Farm Girl Dry Goods. So I did get a frame. So I got the frame from arttocrafts.com. So it is an actual custom size frame, because it needed, instead of an 8x10, I had to do an 8.5 by 10.5. So I did have to get a custom frame. And then I framed it myself. So I laced the back and everything like that, and then put it in. So it's got kind of the frame has a blue tinge to it. Hopefully you can see that. So I wanted something that had a little bit of color there in it, to go with the patriotic aspect of it. So I'm really excited to have this framed. I don't have it on my wall yet. We're kind of in the middle of reorganizing some things, so we'll eventually get to hanging all of my pieces up. And actually this one might not go in on the wall. I think it's gonna go with, my husband has a flag. I don't know if I mentioned this previously, because it's been 2.5 months since my last video, but he's got an American flag that was flown at the White House back several years ago, where he could order it after it had been flown, and he's got a certificate that goes with it saying when it was flown and everything like that. And so the certificate is framed. The flag is in a shadow box, triangle shadow box. So I want to put this with that, because I think it would be a nice display. So I absolutely love this piece. I knew when it was shown for a retreat piece that I wanted to stitch it, and I'm just so glad that I was finally able to get it fully finished. So that is my first one, and I love it. And I've seen a lot of people working on it recently, which is a lot of fun. So my next finish, fully finished, is going to be Honey House, and this is by Erin Elizabeth Designs. I did get the house, so you'll see that, and that is by Paisleys and Polka Dots. I finished mine, painted it a different color because I want to be able to switch it out, and I feel like this color hopefully will be able to be incorporated for all seasons. So I am hoping that she does some more, like fall and Christmas especially, and I don't think there's a spring one. There's a strawberry and then the honey house so far, I think, are the only two right now. I did finish the smalls, but they are not fully finished, so I'll show those in my finishes. I am going to make them into pillows. And then what I have displayed with it right now is the Bee-scornu. So I'll show you the entire display, and then I will show you them separately. So I did stitch this one as well. This was part of my plans for June is what I worked on. And I stitched these with Lisa, who is Red Poppy Crafts on Instagram as well. So here is the full finish. So I think it turned out really cute. I did the teal color because, you know, Christmas teal, fall teal, like pumpkins and things. So I think that I'll be able to incorporate that with the other ones. And I wanted something a little bit different, but I did keep with the yellow on the backing fabric. And then I'll pick up the Biscornu in a second. I'm hoping to be able to fit the pillows in here, and then the Biscornu may have to be on the side. I'm not sure, but I'm starting to run out of room. So I did paint it. I hand painted it rather than spray paint because I'm just not very good with spray paint. I'm not sure I'm really good with hand paint either because there are some imperfections, but that's okay. I did my best. And these are on magnets and washers. So here is the finish of Honey House. And this is stitched on 28 count Berkshire Hive, I believe. I think it might be a picture of this plus, I can't remember. So there is like these, let's see if I can get it on the camera. The hives, there you go. You can kind of see the hive design on it. And I stitched all of the pieces in this fabric. And I did use the called for colors. The one mistake I made on these is I switched the green. When I was stitching up here, instead of using the darker green, I used the lighter green. But I just went with it. I did keep it correct in there. And then this is kind of the teal color that matches with the house that I painted. So this was a lot of fun. And then this is Chelsea's checks in yellow, and then I used some rickrack around the edges. So that is the house. And then here is the Biscornu. So this was the very first one that I did. It's really hard to get a good picture of the Biscornu, but I will try to be able to post it on social media. But I think it turned out really well. It was actually a lot easier to put together than I thought. I followed Nicole Spore's tutorial for it, and I think it turned out really well. So I do actually have 2 buttons in the center. There was a whole ordeal trying to pick a button, but I finally picked 2 that I thought would work together. This is the bottom, so I've not fully cut down where my knot is yet, but no one sees the bottom, so that's kind of the nice part about it. But it was actually, it was time consuming, I'll say, but it was easy. So it was time consuming to put it together, but it wasn't that difficult, and I actually really enjoyed the process. So much so that my next fully finish, I'll just give you one more peek at the house because I think it's great. I'm so excited to have it. It's not on display, except it's sitting on my mantle, which is where all my other finishes are right now, just all kind of bunched together while we're trying to get our living room reorganized. But I love that Biscornu so much that I was like, oh, you know, I want to do more Biscornus. So I had this pattern from Nashville Needlework Market. And this is Manni Donna's Seasonal Biscornus. So I did the fall one, which I think that's the fall one right there. And I went ahead and fully finished it as well. So here's my finish on this one. I stitched this, I had to write it down, on 32 count Mushroom Bold by Color and Cotton. So this was a Color and Cotton of the month last year that I did it on. So it's 32 count, so this one's 28 count, so you can kind of see the difference in sizes. There's not too much difference. I don't know if I'll stitch a Biscornu on 36 count, maybe eventually. It'll be really tiny. But this is the finish. So we've got like the pumpkins here and then the house, and then it just repeats the pattern over there. And then on the back, I really like the pattern that it's got, and all of this in the corner. So that is that finish. And this button I think came from Hobby Lobby. I went on a hunt for buttons. So I went to Joann's and to Hobby Lobby and bought just a bunch of buttons while I was working on trying to figure out how I was gonna finish these. And then just kind of decided what was gonna work out best. So that is the finish there. So my next one will be winter. This actually only took maybe 2 or 3 nights of stitching. It was really fast. And I so you stitch it in a square, so that's kind of the square, I think. This is upside down maybe, I guess, or sideways, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but they're opposite of each other. So I actually stitched these sides together and these sides together. So even though they were different that way, I was kind of like color completing. But I did the boxes first, so the outline first, and that made it a lot easier as well. So it's stitched up super fast and super cute, so I love it. Those are my fully finished objects. There will be some Save the Stitches that are fully finished as well, so I'll share those after. So for my finishes, before I go into like ornaments, I'll go with the big piece that I decided to pull out and finish. Before we go to Christmas, I've got another one. We'll do that one first. A friend of mine shared a picture with me of her whip, and in the background she had this piece that I had not finished yet. It was a whip in my basket. This was in June, and I'd finished the honey house and the small pieces, and then I decided, you know, I want to work on some other things, and I saw this and I was like, you know, I've got it in my whips, I should go ahead and just pull it out. If I have a picture of where I started, I'll try to insert it here, because I did have the crate part done, but I had to do all of the strawberries. I think I just had like the white, so I some of the white done, and then I had to come in and do everything else. So this is Calendar Crates June by Stitching with the Housewives. I've stitched the majority of these and fully finished them. I think I only have November, April, and February. I don't think I've stitched February yet, so I might have 3 left still to do. I was part of the club back in, it doesn't have a year, 2022, I guess, maybe. I think that's when the club was, because we've had two clubs since then. So I received all of these. So I do need to, I've got all the fabric cut for the other ones. I just need to finish them. So this is the finish. So it's on 28 count, black Monaco, and it is with all the called for colors. So I think I had already had like the white all in here, as well as the crate and maybe part of the house outlined. And I think I had this part. I can't remember if I had the bowls yet or not, but I had to do all 1 million of these strawberries and then all of the color for the fill-in. So I'm really glad to have this one done. It is a whip that is crossed off my list, so I'm excited to have whips coming off the list. I can't remember. I've finished quite a few whips this year, and so I'm really glad to have that. Of course, I've started a bunch of things as well, so I'm not sure where I'm landing right now. But having some of these bigger whips is really nice. It feels good to have them finished. So that is the June calendar crate. And then, so going on to Jolly July, I had planned on pretty much only doing ornaments. But then, so I'll show the ornaments here in a minute, but Raquel, who is Traveling Viking Mama, she had a Stitching with the Housewives July. So if you have not seen her posts on the Stitching with the Housewives group or on her face or her Instagram, she knocked it out of the park and was a stitching fiend. She finished so many things. But that inspired me to pull up this whip that I had. And so I pulled it out just thinking I was gonna do a little bit of work on it, but then I really got going on it. It did take me about 2 weeks, I think, to finish this. I can't remember, I think I do have a before picture, so I'll show you where I was in the beginning. Because here's the finish. So I only had the church, the tree, a couple snowflakes, and I hadn't started any of the words. I had done some of the snowflakes down here. But I had to do everything else. And that is a ridiculous amount of snowflakes. And I don't know about y'all, but snowflakes are really not my favorite to stitch. They're beautiful when they're stitched, but to me, they're quite a pain to actually do them. And then this fabric was really difficult for me to work on. I think that's why I probably haven't worked on it. I don't have the tag, but it's 32, oh there it is, 32 count Storm Lugana by Picture This Plus. And I've talked to some friends and they agree that with 32 count Picture This Plus, it's just difficult. The holes, I think, because of the dyeing process, get a lot smaller. And so it doesn't feel like it's 32 count. And I did start this stitching it 2/2, and so because I had so much done, I wasn't going to flip that, but it was difficult to stitch 2/2. I think if I had to stitch on this fabric again, it would be 1/2, because it was tough to see the holes. I did get my hoop out for a little while, just trying to open up those holes, and then I eventually was able to get it going, getting a groove, stitching in hand, which made it go a little bit faster. But just get in the little cow and the pig. My kids really enjoyed watching me work on this one. They kept saying, oh, stitch the pig next, stitch the cow next, oh, do the chickens, do Santa. So they kind of helped me pick and choose where I was gonna go when I was working on this. And they were excited to see kind of where it came. So that is another whip. I started this probably when it came out. 2 years ago, I think, is when it came out. So another one that is now off my list. And another big one. I feel like this is one of the bigger pieces, at least for me. I don't do pieces that are too huge. More like that medium area. All right, so before I do all of the ornaments, because they're smaller, let's do these small pieces for Honey House by Erin Elizabeth, and then I've got another whip that I crossed off my list. That's a medium-sized piece, I'd say. So here is the home piece that is stitched up. It was quick because it's so small, and it'll be a little pillow that I'll finish and put in the display. And then here is Be Sweet. So they are all stitched on the same fabric. And I think they're so cute. I really enjoyed these. Once she showed them, when she came out with them, I knew I had to get them and stitch them because I love them. And I just got to work on them and kept going. I don't have the cover photo for this one because it is a PDF that I got, but it is by Sweet Wings Studio. And this is, oh, I can't think of the name of it. It is on, but I stitched it on 32 count travertine, and it was the September 2023 fabric of the month by Color and Cotton. And it was the Nativity verse that she did last year. I can't remember what it's called. But I started this as my Christmas Day stitch last year, and I think I had maybe half of it done, or at least up here mostly done. And then I finished, or maybe just a little bit up here, I can't remember. And then I went on and finished the rest of it. So I'm really happy with how it turned out and to have it done. And I am going to fully finish it on this. It's a Valentine's Day board from Hobby Lobby. But I think it was a charcuterie board from this year, $3.99, probably got it on sale. And it's gonna be a perfect fit. So I'm excited to finish that up. I've got it all in the bag, so it's ready to go. I did just pick and choose my own colors for that one. Because it's just easy Christmas colors, and then it's easier sometimes for me to just do it that way. All right, so for the ornaments, I had a stitch along with Lisa, Red Poppy Crafts. We like to stitch things together, and we like a lot of the same things. Her finish is on Instagram, so you should definitely check that out. This is Oh Holy Night. It is a freebie by Plumstreet Samplers. I will try to link it below. But you can always go to her website and find her freebies that she's got. And this is stitched on 36 count Legacy. And I did choose my own colors. So Legacy by Pictureless Plus, I should say. I used DMC 844, 731, Ecru 3721, 3787, 648, and 407 were my numbers for that. So just there are words down here. I think it says the soul felt its worth, but I did not stitch those. So I'm gonna make this into just a little ornament somehow, is my plan. But it was just a fun little sweet stitch. And I think I did some colors different than what was called for them as well. I don't know if the house was called for. I think it was called for this pink in the door, but I did mine a little bit darker. I think is how I did that. So that was one ornament that is done. And then, I'm gonna show these next. These are by a new creation studio. She had a stitch along for a nativity piece that she did. And so the first one was the Wisemen. And so let me get a piece of paper to put these on. That is the first one, and I stitched these on. Let's see, I've got the fabric here. It's another colored cotton, 32 count Journey. Is what Journey? No, Mushroom Bold, sorry, January. I can't read. It was the January Club of the Month this year. So Mushroom Bold by Color and Cotton. And I used my own colors, and I used different colors for each one of these. So this is Holly by Weeks Dye Works. So it is these shepherds. So cute, I absolutely loved them. It was so fun to stitch them. I think the next one that came was Angel. This I used honeycomb. So there's that one. And I'm gonna just make these as ornaments, and I want to have a nativity tree, I think, is what my plan is. The Wisemen came next, and that was Manor Red by Classic Colorworks. And then the final one was the Savior, and I did Mermaid Fin. I'm still working on another one, which I'll show you that as a whip for the Savior. So there is, and I have already posted these on Instagram, so you can see all 4 of them together and the different colorways that I chose to do. And then I want to do these as teacher gifts for my kids, but I didn't want to do, or for my kids' teachers, but I didn't want to do them the same size because I'm going to have to stitch, I think, 5 of them because my daughter has 2 teachers. I want to give, they go to a small school. His teacher from last year, my son's teacher from last year, I want to give her one, and then the principal as well. So I'm going to have to stitch this 5 more or 4 more times because this one's almost done. So what I did is I kind of made the design a little bit smaller, went with her, thing, except for I don't have the palm tree and the big snowflake, and so I just brought the border down and added some of the design in there. So I just made it a little bit smaller, and then I'll put the nativity in there. And then I have an idea for how I want these to be finished. I'm gonna have to get with my dad for a finishing piece that I think hopefully he'll be able to put together for me to make them into like little ornaments for the tree. So I'm gonna do these in their favorite colors at the beginning, maybe not the beginning, I guess towards Christmas. They'll send us a list of like the teachers' favorite things. And I have some of them from last year for the teachers this year. That would be the same. And so I want to stitch them in like their favorite color. So one of them is blue. So that helps. I think actually 2 of them have blue. One has their favorite color as a mustard yellow. So I'm trying to think if a nativity scene is going to look good in a mustard yellow. So we'll see. I may have to be creative in that one. So those are those. I want to put them back all together. So I got them all in a bag. And then still working on ornaments here and Christmas gifts as well, which I've still got a bunch to do. So I'm not done with my Christmas stitching or my ornament stitching or anything like that. I've got more of these to stitch. Threadmilk Designs, this is Tennessee. So my parents live in Tennessee, I live in Tennessee, my sister lives in Tennessee. So I want to do these as gifts for all of them. I guess gifting myself one as well. And so this is the first one that I've got done. If I don't get mine done this year, that's okay. I at least need to get one more of these done for my parents. And then instead of, I'm counting it as an ornament, but I'm thinking I want to do them in a little display. So like one of those little trays, just small tray, and then with like a little home sign as well. I'm thinking that's how I might want to. So maybe like a little pillow and then do it that way. And then I have family, I think I've got the other one here, in Georgia. And so this is the Georgia one. And so I am going to stitch this one for them. I've only got family in Georgia, one set of family that I needed to stitch this one for. So this one's done. So I'm thinking the same thing, a little pillow with a little display. I've already stitched one of the Colorado, I think it's downstairs. But I've got to stitch 4 more of these. I need to count. I've got a lot of family in Colorado for them. So I've got some stitching to do, and these ones I'm stitching in Blacksmith Blue. And the fabric is like it might be like a raw natural, I'm not sure. 28 count, I think, but it's just something that I had in my stash that I thought would be good, kind of like a rustic look that I was going for. So those are those finishes for gifts. I think everything else is a non-gift finish. I had to do some stitching for myself as far as ornaments go as well. So once I got on the kick for the nativity tree, I then came and I stitched, I don't have the cover photo, it's another PDF from the Housewives, but it's Oh Holy Night. And they stitched it on black, but I went with this gray that I had dyed myself. And this one took a day and a half to stitch, so super fast. And there is another one with a church that I want to do, and for the tree, so that I think are all kind of like nativity type themed. So this will be it's not ironed too. It's got lots of wrinkles from dyeing it. But I did use the called for colors on this. And I'm picking, I guess I forgot to mention, for these ones, I kind of picked my own colors that I thought would work for them. I did Deep Blue Sea, Gentle Arts, Rhubarb, 347, and then Classic Colorworks Cocoa Bean for Georgia. And then I've got the Tennessee ones. Let's see. Stepping Stone, I think Deep Blue Sea again. And then the red is Ladybug. It only calls for the 3 colors. So those are the ones I used for. All right, so going along with the nativity theme, I then moved on to Heart and Hand Nativity. I've had this pattern for a while, and I have some other nativity patterns that I've got in my bag that I want to work on as well. But I have Shepherd's Bush. I can't remember the name of it, but they're 4 separate pieces that I stitched last year with Kimberly Stitching, and I did them individually, and I haven't finished them yet, so I think I'm gonna do those as ornaments and put them on the tree as well. So that gives me 4 there, 4 from the Stitch Along with a New Creation, Oh Holy Night, and now this one. So that's 10 ornaments already and it'll just be probably one of the smaller trees that I have. I used all my own colors. I don't know if I wrote them down somewhere. And it's on a mystery piece of, I think it's like a 32 count fabric. So I just pulled things that looked similar and went with it. And this was a pretty easy stitch as well, just lots of color changes up in the Wisemen, but I tried to color complete them to make it a little bit quicker. So those are, let's see, I've got 2 more ornaments and then we're done with my finishes and my ornaments. This one was inspired because I stitched Mr. Claus last year and it showed up on my time hop. And so I decided I wanted to pull out Mrs. Claus and get her done this year. And so this is on 32 count. I stitched it a lot, so you think I know the name of it, but I can't think of it. I will try to find it, but I love it. I love stitching Christmas on this color as well. I think these ones were stitched on white. Maybe Copy T did, maybe they were. Oh, it's right here, oh my goodness. Yeah, white. It's right in the cover photo. And this one was another pretty quick stitch. I did make a mistake somewhere in here and I had to rip it out and come back. The small ones, it's so silly to make a mistake, but I do. So there is that. And then the very first ornament that I completed, did everything backwards. This was one of my first starts of Jolly July. This is the blue flower. So this is Tall Tree. New Hampshire Stitcher had showed this and I couldn't find it. And then someone else showed it many months later and I had to go pick it up because my sister-in-law absolutely loves giraffes. When we went to Destin, we went to a small little zoo. My husband got her and our 2 older kids an encounter with the giraffes and she just went crazy, just completely overwhelmed. And she just got so excited. It was great. So she loves giraffes, so I wanted to do a little giraffe ornament for her. And this is a mystery piece of fabric, 28 count, I think. I think I did use the called for colors for this one though. So I will turn this into some sort of little ornament for her. Super, super cute. And since then, I've seen some other giraffe ornaments. There's one by Plumstreet, the 2x2 ornament, so I may have to eventually do that for her. She also loves nutcrackers, so I've done a lot of different stitching for her for all of those. So those are my finishes. I don't know how many ornaments. That's maybe at least 10 ornaments, maybe more than that. So I'm definitely pleased with that. I think my total ornament count for the year is at 20. I was trying to do 4 a month, but that got a little bit crazy. So next year it'll definitely be less than that. Still trying to do a lot because I do a lot of gift stitching that are ornaments. So I do still need to keep up with that, but not gonna try to do 4 a month because I fell off the bandwagon. I think I'm supposed to be at like 32 right now and I'm at maybe 20. So definitely very far behind on that. So once Jolly July was over, I was super excited to get started on my fall stitching. I guess before I go into that though, I do have one more that's more Christmas themed, and then 2 more, sorry, we're gonna go into whips. They're all sitting over here with me. And then my monthly pieces that I am working on. So I'll show the Christmas themed ones, and then I will go into the monthly ones and then the fall pieces that I've got going right now. So this is Christmas Nativity Squared. This was gifted to me by Allison from A New Creation Studio last year, and I did start it last year, but I have not finished it. So with the stitch along, I wanted to pick up one of our other ones, and this will potentially be another ornament for the nativity tree. I didn't get a whole lot of progress because I was focusing on everything else. My needle's still in there. We're just gonna work with it. So all I did was really finish the border. I think I only had like part of this line up here, so I came and finished across and then the border. So it is, there is still quite a bit to go on it, but it's at least made a little bit of progress. This is a mystery 32 count blue, and I am stitching it 1/2 on this fabric, which I think works better for me. I think I may stick with 32 count 1/2 for most fabrics. Wait, that's that width. And I am very far behind on this one, but you know, here we go. I'll eventually get them done. This is, nope, not that one. I've got all of the patterns in here together. All right, this is the Log Cabin Christmas by Little House Needleworks, and this is the bunnies, and that is the progress with everything, a full-on mess in here. Thread everywhere, the progress that I've made. So just working on that border. These really don't take very long. I just need to do them, and I'm very behind. But I am stitching these on, everything is cut up. I wonder if I've got, oh, there it is. 36 count Wren by Picture This Plus. So I've got all my fabric cut and ready to go. I've only finished one of these so far, which is the very first one, which is the squirrels. So that is my first finish. And so now I need to work on bunnies. And then let's see, I do have all of them in the bag. I just ordered the deer because that one just came out. And I have been getting these from Addicted Stitcher on Instagram. She offers free stitching on her pattern, or free shipping on her patterns, which is amazing, especially when shipping can be so much these days. And then she also sends like little gifts with when you're a repeat customer. So I will share those. She puts them in the bag, so I'm gonna take them out of the bag, and then I'll share what those are here in just a second. So this is the fox, which was number 3, and then the bear, number 4, I think, and then number 5 is the quilt block that she always does, and then I guess number 6 is the deer that's coming out. So she sent this with one of them, so like a floss keep. She sent, I think this, oh, this is a threader, needle threader, and then one of the, it holds your floss, and I actually use these rings from Amazon, so it's perfect. So sweet of her to just send a little thank you for being a repeat customer in her bags. So I will link her shop below as well. So I have those to stitch and work on. These series, I absolutely love them. I'm just really bad about keeping up with them. So eventually I'll get there. All right, so I've got 2 monthly whips that I'm working on, and those are my temperature piece. I have not done anything for this month, and we're 7 days in, so I really got to get this one started. If I can find the cover photo for it. This is Temperature Turtles by Stitching Mama, or Stitching Mommy on Etsy. So that is the cover photo. So we are 7 months done now, and I do have July done. I need to start back stitching them. She showed on Instagram recently where she started back stitching hers, and they just really, it just makes them look so different once you start the back stitch. This is on a mystery piece of 28 count, I think it's even weave, blue fabric. So there are my months. So you can see we've got some hot stuff, and in the months, some hotter, darker colors. July and August are our hotter months here in Tennessee, so I imagine there'll be some more. We haven't gotten to 100 yet, so I haven't gotten to use the darkest red yet, but that was July. And I'm stitching these now. Initially, I had stitched the fins and feet, or fins, the feet, legs, everything, head, tail, beforehand. and then filled in, but I'm actually now doing them as I go along because I kept getting off on my stitches and counting from this leg to over here, just, it wasn't working for me. Too much counting. So I decided to just do it along the way, and that makes it hopefully not have as many errors. So I do need to get working on August and get it caught up. It usually only takes me one night if I'm a week behind, or even less than that, to get caught up, so it's not too bad. All right, I dropped something, sorry about that. And this is in a So Much to Love turtle bag, of course. Gotta be the turtles. My other monthly piece is by Fox and Rabbit. It is their Faith, Hope, and Love stitch along. And so every month a new part comes out. I have not started on August, but I did get July done, which I didn't think with my Christmas stitching I was going to, but I did. So I was very happy about that. It is on a mystery, I'm gonna say 32 count probably. I'm stitching it 1/2. And it is stitched with Dinky Dye's Night Sky. And hopefully I've got enough to finish the series. We'll see. So it's a really big piece. Ooh, get in there. So that is where we are at right now. So it will be, so August will go here, and then we've got the whole bottom row for the next 4 months after that. So it is a large piece. So for this month, I'll come in, we stitched that little piece there and the circle down there as well. That was a fun little stitch. Not too bad. And the August is already out now too. It came out actually July 31st. You can get the August piece. And it looks like it's not gonna be too bad. I think it'll be a pretty easy stitch once I get going on it. So definitely enjoying that one, and we'll really enjoy the finish at the end of the year. And I'm excited that I've kept up on both of these pieces. It's also pretty amazing that I've kept up on with them, with everything else that I wanted to stitch. All right, I've only got 2 fall pieces that I'm working on right now. My new start for August was a market release by none other than Erin Elizabeth, of course. Where's my cover photo? There it is. This is Pumpkin Lane Sampler. I fell in love with it. I bought the kit, so I bought the, well, I did my own fabric, but I bought the Dinky Dyes as well, and it is stitched on, if I can find my paper, stitched on 32 count Overcast by Color and Cotton. And I am just kind of starting on it. I've not gotten a lot of progress. This weekend we went camping with the kids for their last weekend before school starts, and so there was no stitching at all that weekend. And then I've worked some of the last few nights, so I've not stitched very much this month yet. But this is my start on it. Whoop, my start on it. And like I said, stitching with the called for colors, and I am stitching 1/2. So I started with 2/2 because it's 32 count, but then when I started that, I didn't like it. I didn't like the feel for it. It was too thick. So I decided to move on to 1/2, and that is much better for me. I will say I made a mistake in here, up here. So my box is actually 1 stitch off. So I'm going to be adjusting the houses to make it all work. So this house here, all of these houses are only 1 stitch apart, and this one is 2. So I'm gonna move this guy over 1 stitch, and that should fix everything for the bottom, and the side should be fine once I make that adjustment. So I at least found the mistake, but I found it after I'd stitched the entire box, and I was not going to go back and fix it, because that was a lot of stitching for the time that I had to stitch, which was not a lot of time. All right, the other thing that I wanted to really work on this month is my Fall on the Farm series by Little House Needleworks, because like I said, I'm really great about starting series and really bad about finishing them. This one came out in 2022. I will say I was pleasantly surprised with how many I already had done, because I didn't realize how many that I had done. So I have already stitched, let's see, 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 of them, and I'm working on the 7th now. That was a previous whip that I brought into this year. So the first one was Farm Stand, The second one was the apple tree, I think. I may not be doing these in the right order. I'm not entirely sure. Third one was scarecrow. And then we've got like the pumpkin house. And so initially I thought these were the only 4 that I had finished. And then I started to work on the whip that I have, the one that I'm currently working on. And when I opened it up, I found 2 other finished. So that was exciting because I thought that I had not finished or done these ones yet. So that is the cow. And then we have, of course, the quilt block, which apparently I've blanked out on stitching these because I didn't know that I had stitched them. And so now I am working on pumpkin patch. And like I said, this was a whip that I had already started last year, or who even knows, maybe 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago, and hadn't worked on at all. I had the border done and the bottom pumpkins, but I didn't have the vine done yet. So since I picked this up, I think I picked it up at gymnastics last Friday and then worked a teeny tiny bit on it last night before bed. So I've done the vine, I've done the pumpkins up here, and then I built this tree and started in on the sign there. So this will be finished pretty quickly, I think. And so then after this one, I only have 2 more, which is the Wishing You Well and the Little Pigs. So those will be my last 2 to finish up. So my hope, I would say goal, but maybe not goal, is to have these finished this month, because I'd really like to have this series done. Especially now that I know that I only have 2 more after that. I thought I was gonna have 4 more after that one, which seemed a little bit daunting, but now knowing that there's only 2, it's not so bad. But these are stitched on 28 count mushroom Lugana with all the called for colors. So I just kind of got the whole kit with the floss and everything when this first came out. So here's my mess of colors. And these are in a dot dot goose bag that is pumpkins. So love it. So those are all of my finishes, fully finished, and whips. There's a lot there. And so I will share my Save the Stitches next and then go into a little bit of haul that I got. So from, I was gonna say from the first one, but these may not go in order. They're probably not gonna go in order of where I got them, because I honestly can't remember. My mom went to one of them for me because I saw stitching in the picture, and so she kind of went and scoured the house. I wasn't able to get to that one because we had something going on that weekend and they were already headed in the direction of where the estate sale was. So I was like, hey, you want to just make a quick stop? And she loves estate sales too. So they made that stop and scoured the house for these finishes. And I think everything may have been, it was the last day of the sale, so I think everything may have been, 50% off of the price, which I did not apparently take the prices off of them. So I'm just gonna briefly take the stickers off. But stitching, especially estate sales, they're never what you put into them. So that's one reason why I love to save them, because I don't want them to get thrown away. Most people don't want them. So I get to come in there and say, this is what I want. So this is the first one that they had. And it is in this frame is actually kind of starting to fall apart, so I will probably take it out and try to fix it. It is just taped in there, and then there's nails that are rusty. So when I take this out, there's rust on the fabric. Probably gonna have to cut it down and finish it a little bit smaller. But yeah, just welcome friends, and then a little alphabet. And it was stitched in 1986. No information on it at all, but I thought it was really cute and it would be good to stitch or to put up. It looks like it's a 14 count Ada that it's stitched on. And then this will definitely be getting reframed because it's just like a very cheap plastic frame, but it is a really pretty sampler, or not sampler, but pretty saying. So give thanks for the fullness of days spent together, the friends that we pray will be with us forever, the feelings we've shared, the food and good fun, with faith that God's blessings have begun. And there is no date on this one, but I'll probably take this out and finish it a different way as well. And it is, I think this might be a 16 count Ada because it looks a little bit smaller than the other one. But I thought that was a great find as well. And then Another one that was the finishing, it makes me smile. This one was stitched in 85. It takes a lot of loving to make a house a home, so welcome. It's just really cute. It'll, again, all of these will probably be rehomed from the current frames situation that they have. This one I actually will probably keep in its frame because it says Home Sweet Home. Oh, try to get the glare. There's a light. There we go. Home Sweet Home. Established 1986, and it looks like it was a Christmas gift because it says to, I'm not sure what the name is, Merry Christmas 1986, and then they kind of scribbled some of the stuff out, but it was like professionally framed. So that one will probably just go up on the wall the way that it is. And then we've got, the kitchen is the heart of the home, just really cute. This one will stay how it's finished. I think it's got a pretty good framing job on it, and it's small, so I'll probably put this somewhere in my kitchen. These, let's see, this one I'm gonna take out of its little frame and make it into just a little ornament. Just cute. I think this one was like 50 cents. So that's what I'll do with that one. I don't know, this one I might take out. It just has a piece of cardboard in the back, and it's got, I don't know, it's around it's finished on a piece of cardboard. I'm gonna have to cut some of the edges off, I think, to be able to do that. But probably gonna take it out of this frame and do something with it. But it's got some batting, or it's cushy in there as well, but just a really cute finish. Make that maybe into a small little pillow. All right, so this is the one I saw in the picture. They had just a bunch of unfinished stitching. I didn't realize how many they had because they were stacked. And so I was pleasantly surprised when I went and I found all of them. So this is, and they were $3 each. We got there at the very opening of the sale. It was a madhouse. There was a line out of this house to get through it, but no one went through the stitching. I had all 3 kids with me and my mom because it was, I think it was 4 p.m. on a Thursday that they opened up the estate sale. And it was really funny. So I had my daughter and with the 18-month-old, she was in the carrier, but she was on my back. And then the 2 older kids, they were fine. They're pretty well behaved. But it was just funny because I walked out and there was a gentleman who was probably my age, maybe a little bit older. And he just looked at me just shocked that I had gone through the house with them and was like, oh, you have your hands full. And I just kind of smiled and nodded, and it just made me laugh. I was like, I guess you probably don't have kids, but that's okay. It was really cute. So here is one of the finishes, just I guess like a band sampler. And it says, Gentle Flock of Briar Root Wander Home by Song of Flute. It does not have a date on it when it was stitched, but it's a 14 count Ada. So that's the first one. The next one is some sort of sampler, like maybe a reproduction sampler of some kind. It's stitched on this really big piece of Ada as well. And then 1988, it's got their initials down here, my sampler, and then I'm not sure what this space is up here for. So if anyone has seen this before and has any information on it, please let me know. But it's just cute. So I will finish this one and put it up as well. Probably up on a wall. That will probably be a piece that gets framed. And then there were some small pieces. This one will be an ornament as well. Try to get it like that. And this is, it might be 16 count Ada, I think. And then this is the last one, and it is 14 count, I think. I think it goes that way because I think this is a tree, right? Which way do you think it goes? I definitely don't think it goes that way. I think it goes that way. But it's cute. And each of these were $3, I think. And so those are those. So I did lots of Save the Stitches. There weren't any charts or anything like that along with them, which was interesting. But I think this lady was a prolific quilter because there were quilts everywhere, and they were beautiful, but no fabric or anything. So I'm like, maybe she wasn't quilting later on, and so she'd already gotten rid of all of the supplies and things. I don't even think there was a sewing machine, but we found a lot of these things kind of buried and underneath different things as we kind of went through all of the things. So really fun to, there were a couple other stitching pieces that I did not get. There was a chicken in the kitchen. I thought about Chelsea from Stitching with the Housewives with that one. And I think that was, there may have been some other ones that I didn't get. But those are the ones that I did save. So moving on to my haul, because this video is getting a bit longer, I did have some other pieces I thought I'd share, whips that are fall, but I will share them if I end up stitching on them. I'll share them. So I am going to the Friend Stitch here next month. Very excited about that with Heart and Hand, and it's the collaboration between Heart and Hand and Bent Creek. And they actually did a sale. Everything went really fast. So a sale on their previous pieces. I was lucky enough to get this one. This is the one that I had my eye on when it was very first released. Absolutely loved it. So I was really excited to be able to get this piece. And then I think these pieces came with it, I guess. It was like a bundle. So there's adorable little Santa. And then this little circle, Noel. And then it came with, I think that's just a needle. Oh, it's a stitching needle, cool. There's a needle in there, and then all of like the little finishing pieces that you need, the beads and the button. And then I think this might be a needle minder, maybe. So that's what came in the bundle. So that was super fun. I'm excited to get the box. And I think they said maybe there's some pre-stitching as well, because there's going to be a finishing thing. So that's separate from the box though. I think it's coming in a PDF in an email in a couple weeks. So that'll be really exciting to get that. For my fabrics of the month, I've got the fabric of the month coming for August. It's in the mail. And then I did do one of the pre-orders from Color and Cotton that I think should be here maybe today. But this was July, and let's see June. So let's do June is Dove, and then I got the 36 count, and then White Tea was July. So both really good neutrals, and I'm in the neutral club. So trying to build my 36 stash. I built my 32 count stash last year a little bit. And then I am in the So Much to Love Fabric of the Month Club. I get it every other month though. So I don't do every month, but I thought it would be reasonable to do every other month. So this is the June bag. And so August will be here in a couple weeks, I think. So just really cute beach fabric, and then beach balls on the inside. And with that, she sends, this is So Much to Love, in case I didn't mention that, 3 colors, and you get an exclusive chart. She always also sends stash tea, and then a little something. These are Bowen France 26 needles, and then the exclusive chart was by Hands On Design, made in the shade. So just these really cute umbrellas at the beach, very cute. And I was excited that it was Hands On Design because, you know, I love Hands On Design. So that was super fun. And then the final piece of haul that I have, Jen's Stitching Niche. I'll link it on Etsy. She had a really good sale. I think she still has some things on sale maybe. And apparently she does this quite often on some Stitching with the Housewives charts. So better than the sales that the Housewives will do when they do like their PDF sales. So I was like, let's jump on it and get a couple ones that have been on my wish list. So this is Santa's Skate Shop, and they were like 40% off, I think. It's a really good sale. Home Sweet Home, monthly weigh in May, and then monthly weigh in August. So I have not gotten any of the monthly weigh-ins, but I do have my eye on a few of them. And so those were 2 that she had that I want to do. I'm not going to do all of them probably. I don't know how I'm going to finish them or even when I'm going to stitch them. I haven't even stitched the Barns. I am excited about the new series. I do really like that. But I will probably wait, since I've got so much other things going on, wait until they're PDFs and I can kind of decide which ones I want to get instead of doing all of them. I'm really happy that I've done the trucks, that I've done almost all of the crates for Stitching with the Housewives. I do have all of the Barns because I was in the club, but I have only started the August one, and it is like the most pitiful start ever. So I still have that series. I just have a lot. So I've got to be more, I think, choosy with what I stitch with the time that I have, because I don't have nearly as much time as I once did. But anyhow, that was a lot of stitching, so thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for your patience. I'm hoping to be back sometime in September. September's a really busy month for me. I am conducting workshops with my students. I will be traveling for some of those. So it is a pretty busy month, but maybe I can get a video in before all of the craziness starts of September. Fall tends to be a really busy season for me at work. I was glad to have like a month off. So July was kind of like my slow month because I work with high school students. And so they're off doing summer programs, they're out of school, so there wasn't nearly as much going on. But now that things are kicking back up, it's gonna be a lot busier with all of that. So very fortunate with my jobs. I love them. I love working with the students. It just takes away from, work takes away from your stitching time and your crafting time, but you have to work to be able to provide for the stitching time and for the kids too, I guess. That's part of it, I guess, too. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be posting some of these things. I've not posted a lot of them on Instagram yet, so I will be posting some of those, so feel free to follow me there. Like I said, hopefully I'll be back soon, but I just really enjoy being able to have this outlet to be able to share my stitching. My husband doesn't, he likes it, but he doesn't get as excited as I do about everything. My son has been stitching, so he should make an appearance in my next video. He has been doing his own designing. Some of it's freehand designing, which is fantastic, but he has some Christmas gifts that he's working on, and then his own design that he did, and then some other things. So he does have quite a bit to actually show. So I should film a little video with him so that he can pop in here and share with you what he's been working on. I hope everyone has a great August. For those who have kids going back to school, getting all of that done. Today was our first day of school for a second grader and a kindergartner. I did cry with my kindergartner. I did not at all expect to cry, but I did. She did great. She had no issues. She was so excited to go to her brother's school and find all of the things that had her name on it. She was so excited. So I get to go pick them up here in about an hour. So I'm really excited to go see how their first day was. And it's been quieter here. My husband's at the office today. I dropped him off, so I'll pick him up. And then it's just me and the 18-month-old. So she's now napping, and so she's pretty quiet when she's napping. And so it's just been a very, very different than what it's been like over the summer. But I hope everyone has a great August, a great fall, get into that fall stitching, hopefully for everyone. I know we're not quite to fall. I am planning on starting to switch out my decor. I'm ready to put some fall up. So hopefully in the next week or two, I will get that up. But it's still 80 degrees here. Not 80, it's still like 90s. Here, very hot, and August will be hot too. Our air conditioning went out yesterday, and my husband Googled and researched and talked to people and was able to find the capacitor, I think is what it was, and that ended up fixing everything. So we're very thankful, because it was hard to get someone out here. It was a hot day yesterday, but we had all the fans going and everyone was able to stay cool, and then he was able to get it fixed and get it down. Which was great. So now I'm rambling. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see everyone next time. Have a great day.